There are moments in life when everything goes quiet, the noise fades, the people disappear, and all that remains is you and silence. Most people run from silence. They fear it, because in silence, there's no one left to blame, no distractions, no excuses, just truth, raw, cold, and honest. But you learn to sit with silence. You learn to breathe through it, because you realized growth doesn't happen in crowds. It begins in solitude, in the dark, when no one is watching, when your heart is broken, but your spine stays straight. While others searched for comfort, you battled your inner demons. While they posted fake smiles, you were healing wounds in the dark. They'll never understand. They'll say you disappeared, that you changed. And they're right, because you were never meant to stay small. You weren't born to be average. Every quiet night was preparing you, not to speak louder, but to speak stronger, not to be seen, but to be felt. Let them underestimate you. Let them forget your name, because when you return, you won't need an introduction. You'll be a storm disguised as a human, calm on the surface, unbreakable at the core. You see, the greatest war is not fought with weapons. It's fought in silence, in the space between your ears, where your fears live, where your doubts whisper, where your past tries to pull you back. But every morning you woke up, every time you kept going when it hurt, you were winning. You didn't need applause, you didn't need validation, because you weren't chasing noise. You were building power. People will talk. They always do. They'll say you've changed, too cold, too distant, too focused. But they don't understand. You're not angry. You're just done explaining your fire to those still afraid of burning. You stopped waiting for the world to give you permission, because you realized you are the permission. You are the force. You are the one no one saw coming, because you were too busy preparing. And now, every scar you carry, every silent tear, is a badge of honor. You didn't break, you bent, you adapted, you evolved. And when you rise without a sound, but with the power to move mountains. No one sees the hours you spent alone. No one knows the weight you've carried in silence. But that silence, it wasn't weakness. It was where your strength was born. While they laughed, you listened. While they partied, you planned. While they gave up, you got back up, again and again. Because you knew something they didn't. The climb is supposed to be hard. That's how you know it's real. That's how you know it's worth it. You weren't looking for shortcuts. You weren't chasing approval. You were building something no one else could see. And now, when they look at you with surprise, when they wonder how you did it, you'll smile quietly. Because they'll never understand what it took to become this version of you. The discipline, the sacrifices, the nights with no sleep, the pain you turned into fuel. That's why you walk different. That's why you don't need to shout. Your presence speaks before your words ever do. And now the world is watching. But you're no longer seeking their eyes. You're aiming higher, beyond their doubts, beyond their limits. You've already won, because you refused to quit when no one was clapping. You weren't made for comfort. You were built for the storm. There's a fire inside you that didn't come from peace. It came from pressure, from breaking and rebuilding 1,000 silent times. You've walked through days when everything felt heavy, but still, you stood tall. You've met faces that smiled but carried knives. You've trusted and been torn, and yet, your heart didn't turn to stone. It turned to steel. They tried to silence your voice by drowning you in noise. But you learned something deeper. Silence isn't weakness. It's where power gathers. It's where the next version of you begins. You're not here to blend in. You're here to stand out. Not for attention, but for purpose. Because when you rise, you pull others with you. Your scars tell stories that heal others in silence. You've stopped asking, why me? Now you say, try me. Because the world doesn't give to those who wait. It gives to those who fight with a quiet heart and relentless hands. You're not chasing a dream. You're building one hard choice at a time, one painful step at a time. And with every sunrise, you get closer, not just to success, but to who you were always meant to be. The loudest victories are born in the quietest hours. No one sees the battles you fight when the world sleeps. No one claps for the days you show up tired, broken, but still moving. That's the work that matters, the unseen effort, the invisible commitment. Success doesn't begin when they notice you. It begins when you decide, I won't quit, even if no one ever sees me win. You don't need permission to be powerful. You don't need applause to keep building. You just need one thing, a reason. A reason to rise when it hurts, a reason to push when it's easier to pause, a reason to keep showing up when no one is watching. Because those who build in silence one day rise in thunder. And when your moment comes, when the lights finally find you, you won't flinch. You won't shake. You'll rise like you've been there before. Because you have. Every step you take in the shadows is preparing you to own the spotlight without fear.